everybody loves talking about Boulder, how beautiful it is, the scenery, the access to the outdoors, the culture. Oh my gosh, staring at the beautiful Flatirons. Everybody loves talking about that. But what most people don't talk about are the things that we're going to talk about right here in this video. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain and I'm going to show you the real Boulder, the good, the bad, and of course the downright weird. But hey, it's Boulder. What's up, beautiful people? My name is Noah, your Northern Colorado real estate and lifestyle expert. My phone number is going to pop up right down here, 720-955-0808. Remember, I'm an easy guy to get a hold of. If you have questions or you're considering relocating to the area, please leverage me as much as possible. Now let's get back to the video and talk about the real Boulder, Colorado. Now there are going to be 5 major key contributors to this video and information that you are definitely going to want to know if you are considering relocating to Boulder, Colorado, and you are going to want to stay around till the end because the 5th one is something that nobody else is talking about and could potentially have a large impact on where you're going to end up right here in Boulder or the surrounding areas. If you're watching this video, my guess is that you have actually stopped by Boulder, Colorado at one time or another for a visit, a vacation, a drive through Boulder on your way to Mountain National Park, and you may have not noticed some of these things that if you're planning on relocating can really be a pain in the and that first one is going to be parking. No matter where you look, and people laugh at me when I start to bring this up, but no matter where you look in Boulder, you are going to see no parking on the right side of the street, no parking on the left side of the street. And I don't mean to say that there's not parking. There is. It's just going to be full because Boulder has specifically stopped growth and stopped new streets being built, widening streets, putting in new sidewalks and things like that because they want to keep Boulder authentic Boulder. And authentic Boulder is old Boulder, and old Boulder has little tiny streets. So it's not that you are not going to have access to parking. Oh, you are. It is just exceedingly limited. And what you're going to see through these big, beautiful, tree-lined streets, magnificent architecture, beautiful homes, beautiful mountains, and cars parked bumper to bumper to bumper as far as you can see down the road. Because obviously the major contributing factor to this is the fact that they have not allowed any sort of development or redevelopment in these areas to keep the quaintness of the community intact, which, hey, I don't disagree, but maybe there could potentially be areas to where there could be some parking structures allowed to be built or some streets just widened enough to fit some more parking. That way you keep, Boulder, but at the same time, you also aren't having to park your car 3 blocks down from where your house is and walk or skateboard to your actual home. And no joke, this actually happens. And if you don't know, Boulder's homes are multi-million-dollar homes. It doesn't matter if you're looking at a 1,500 square foot, 3-bed, 3-bath, it's going to be $1.3 million. And I'm sorry, but if I'm paying $1.3 million, I want to be able to park my car in front of my house and just carry my groceries into my home rather than having to drop my groceries off, then go find a place to park and walk or skateboard back to my house. But hey, maybe that's just me. Now, outside of the residential neighborhoods, you are going to notice the exact same thing repeated and reoccurring. In the business districts, in Pearl Street, again, you are going to look down the block and see bumper to bumper to bumper parking because there are a lot of people that want to call Boulder home and little tiny streets and this much parking. So if you're planning on relocating to Boulder, one of the things that you'll see Boulderites do is ride a bike. You will see people out riding bikes all over the place. You will also see people on electric devices such as electric scooters and skateboards because it's just easier sometimes to ride one of those alternative vehicles than it is to deal with trying to find parking. This is an absolutely great time in the video for you to put my cell number in your phone and shoot me a text message at 720-741-7474. That is my cell number. It goes straight to me, and I am here to support you. So remember to leverage me as much as you possibly can. And if you want a behind the scenes look at what life is like right here in Northern Colorado, go ahead and give me a follow at real.estate.hippie on Instagram. I'd love to connect with you guys there as well. Let's get back to this video. So we covered number one already, which is the fact that you know that you're gonna have to get creative while parking if you're gonna choose to live in Boulder, Colorado. And now let's talk about my number two on the list, which is gonna be the insane cost of living and housing. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna pull up, because I wanna give you exact examples of this, just not go spouting off at my mouth. So I'm actually gonna pull up a brand new listing. This listing actually is 19 days old. It's 740 32nd Street in Boulder, Colorado. This home is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a total finished square footage, 1,337 finished square feet. So you don't even get 1,400 finished square footage in this home. And guess what the price tag is? Go ahead. I'll wait. Did you guess yet? I wonder if anybody out there guessed right. Drop it in the comments and tell me what you think this home was worth before I told you. And guess what? The home is listed for $948,000. So for $1 million in Boulder, Colorado, you get a less than 1,400 square foot home. Now let's look at the photos of this property here for a second, because it is a charming looking home, single car garage. It is updated. I like that red door. So yes, it has some Boulder charm. I like the roof lines, and this property, I didn't just pick something out that was, dilapidated or anything like that. This is a very, very nice property. It is exceedingly well done. It's beautifully remodeled. Actually tried to get into this house, but the weather was not participating today. Thus, you get me in the studio rather than out and about. But this property looks pretty darn nice. But you tell me, does it look $950,000 nice when you can go just to your east and you're gonna go ahead and run into the beautiful Longmont, Colorado, which here $1 million is going to get you probably 3 or 4 times the finished square footage, and it only takes you 17 minutes to get to Boulder. And did I mention that we actually have streets wide enough to actually park vehicles on here? So that's nice. Look at this tiny backyard. This cracks me up. Oh, it does have a nice, very nice shed. It does have a nice little shed area back there. But I mean, come on, for $950,000, what you are paying for when you choose to live in Boulder, Colorado is you are choosing to pay a premium for real estate values, as well as cost of living, items like groceries and regular day-to-day living, gasoline, slightly higher in Boulder, Colorado. You are paying a premium for those things to be close to the Rocky Mountains. There is something to be said about being able to walk out your back door and right into some of the best hiking and biking trails that Colorado has to offer. And ultimately, that's the price you pay to live in Boulder, Colorado. And there are a lot of people, myself probably included if I had $1 million to spend on a house, who would absolutely believe that it is worth it to live in this community, because it is awesome. I don't want this video to be me sitting behind the screen hating on Boulder, because that's not what this is. Boulder does have a lot going for it, mainly in the sports and recreation outdoor enthusiasts, mountain biking, hiking. If you like the outdoors, you like wildlife, you're just gonna pay a premium to live there and put up with some of the stuff that we're talking about right here on this video. Now I'm gonna tread lightly when talking about this next issue, because it's not a Boulder issue. It's an America issue. It is a chemical dependency issue. It is a mental illness issue. And of course, along with those things are gonna come homelessness. And just because you're in Boulder County, just because you're in Boulder, you're driving your, Ferrari or your Porsche, you live in a $3 million house, you are going to have to deal with the homeless just like everybody else, and it's no different right here in Boulder, Colorado. Now, in 2024, there were over 700 people in the city of Boulder who were experiencing some form of homelessness. And when you visit Boulder, one of the things that you are going to see are one of those 700 people with their tent right there in the park, with their sleeping pad and their grocery cart full of their belongings right there as you're pulling into Boulder, Colorado. You are going to experience this right away. I can't go to a park in Boulder, go to a hiking trail in Boulder without seeing some of the homeless population, in and around the community. And that's just part of living in this area. Now, Boulder specifically does a great job with public outreach. They have several shelters. They offer food. They offer clothing. They offer showers. They really do go out of the way to help the homeless population out and to try and get them off of the streets. But guess what? You can't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to. And most of the homeless population are 100% okay with sleeping in their tent in the park and would choose that over going to a shelter. Why? Because it didn't really make sense to me when I looked into this. And I actually talked to several of them. And it's because at the shelters, they have rules and regulations. You have to be in by a certain time and you have to leave by a certain time. You have to abide by rules. And most of the homeless population are not necessarily known to be rule followers. They are kind of people who've bucked the system throughout their lives and are not very good at following rules and regulations, or a time clock for that matter. And so most of them choose to forego the support that is offered through Boulder and Boulder County to go ahead and go on living their lives like they want to live them. And you can't just take somebody who wants to be on the street camping in the park and make them go somewhere they don't want to go. And that is one of the reasons that this made this video, is because of the homelessness that you are going to encounter. Now, having said this, and these people are just regular people. I have never been bothered. I've never been harassed. I've never had a negative interaction besides just the fact that when I want to go to the park and I want to bring my kids to the park and I have my kids asking me questions about why that people are not camping in the mountains and why they're camping in the park. That's about it. And coming in at number 4, but before we get to number 4, stick around for number 5, because it's something that nobody is prepared for and nobody is talking about. But number 4 on the list today is traffic is getting out of control. And let's look at a map and find out why. Now, having said this, traffic here in Colorado, and in northern Colorado, has not bothered me since I relocated here, because I get to listen to some great music, some podcasts, stare at the big, beautiful Rocky Mountains. Whether you're leaving in the morning and the sun is just cascading onto the mountains, or you're coming home in the evening time staring at the beautiful sunsets, spending an extra 10 minutes in the car has never bothered me, but it bothers a lot of people. And if you don't know about it, it might bother you too. So we've got Boulder, Colorado pulled up on the map. And what we're going to take a look at is obviously traffic in and out of Boulder during times in the morning and peak hours is going to be a little bit rough. But like I said before, really hasn't bothered me. Of course, most of the times it's for showings and whatnot, and I leave a little bit early. And sometimes that's just what you have to do. But if you look at the geographical location of Boulder, Colorado, you only truly have 2 main routes. What is it? You guys tell me in the comments. Is it routes or routes? I think it's routes. Gosh. So your main ways of getting in and out of Boulder or accessing Boulder is going to be 119 or Diagonal Highway, which is going to come right from Longmont, Colorado. And then you are going to have 36 that is going to go ahead and shoot you right into Superior, Broomfield, and the greater Denver area. You notice what's missing? Any other roads going in and out of Boulder, Colorado. That is all you have to choose from unless you are coming down from the mountains. and then you do have another access point right there. But just where Boulder is located and how the geography of the mountains are going to stop roads from being built. I mean, you're not going to build a road through a stinking mountain. You're just going to go around it. And that's exactly what happened. So you have two of those roads, 36 going into Denver and Broomfield and 119 going into Longmont. Both of those are going to be significantly heavily trafficked during the peak hours in the morning, obviously when people are trying to get to school and work, if you do have to leave Boulder, and then also again at night when people are coming home. Now that's normal city traffic, but you wouldn't think that you'd find it in a small community such as Boulder, Colorado. Now, part of the reason here is that there's just nowhere to build the roads. And the other reason is because Boulder has done such a good job or poor job, depending on how you look at it, on slowing down the building of infrastructure, because they have the coveted spot of Boulder, Colorado, and want to keep Boulder, Boulder. The way of thinking here is that if you don't build roads and you don't have infrastructure for people to use, they only can grow to a certain size before there can be no more growth. And that has been what Boulder has used for the last several decades. Which leads me into my reason number 5, is that Boulder, Colorado has some insane rules and regulations. There is going to be red tape if you want to do anything. And if you're living in Boulder right now, or you've been in Boulder County, you are chuckling on the other end of the screen because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you like red tape? No, I didn't think so. How about you? Do you like the red tape? No. It seems like nobody does. Then why is there so many hoops to jump through and red tape to go through if you want to do anything at all in Boulder, Colorado? Well, it's because the people got together several decades ago when Boulder was experiencing some explosive growth, and they put a stop to about everything and regulated absolutely everything down to the color you can put on a sign. I'm not kidding you. But these rules and regulations have a broader impact, and in my opinion, have negatively impacted Boulder, Colorado. Let's just make believe for a second that you purchase a home in Boulder and you would like to maybe update the paint or build a new fence or possibly add a deck. Well, in regular areas, you just go down and you pull a permit for it, you pay your couple $100 and it's done. In Boulder, that's not quite the way that it works, because everything is specifically regulated in order to keep the city looking and the appeal of the city functioning a certain way, even though that way is not what would benefit every other person who actually lives in the city. And these stringent regulations can definitely catch you off guard. Now, Boulder is extremely protective of its image, the environment, and its growth. And while that's part of what keeps it beautiful, it can also make living here way more complicated than it needs to be. So if you're one of those people who want to just maybe, do what you want to with your house, possibly, start a business, have these ideas, create these things, you are going to have to go through, slog your way through a mountain of paperwork, checks and balances to make sure that your peg fits perfectly inside of what Boulder says that you can and cannot do. Think about it this way. Boulder is simply running at every neighborhood in Boulder, whether it says that you're in an HOA or not. You technically are, because you have all these rules and regulations that you and everybody else is going to have to follow. Now, listen, I get it and I understand exactly why these things are in place. It's just that I work in all these different counties and every single person complains about how strict everything is in Boulder, Colorado. So I just wanted you to know exactly what you're getting moving into. And if you're the type of person that does not bother you, Boulder is going to be an awesome place. Let's go look at some beautiful houses next to the mountains. And if that's not you, there are several other counties, Weld and Larimer County, outside of Boulder County, that might be a better fit for you and your family. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video, where we covered the top 5 things you need to know about if you're considering relocating to Boulder, Colorado. If you want to know more about what life is like, what the experience of relocating here has been, check out this interview right here where I interviewed my beautiful wife Greta and got a female's opinion on what life is like and how life is right here in northern Colorado. Remember, stay adventurous, my friends. I'll see you on the next video.